Welcome to Lady Rams Hoops Weekly, your baseline to baseline source for all things Central Dauphin girls basketball. I'm your host, Joe Gilloway, with Linglestown Gazette Sports. Lady Rams Hoops Weekly is brought to you by Econ Wealth Management, a financial services firm headed by Central Dauphin grad Steve Economopoulos and headquartered right here in the Linglestown area. Steve lettered in soccer and baseball at Central Dauphin before going on to an outstanding career at Shippensburg University. They can be reached at econwealth.com. Econ Wealth Management, they manage for you, they plan with you. And Fabio's Italian Restaurant and Brick Oven Pizza, they're strong supporters of Central Dauphin athletics. Conveniently located between the Grantville exit of I-81 and Route 22. Also, Linglestown Firehouse Bar, just off the square in the Linglestown Firehouse Building. Linglestown Firehouse Bar, the best kept secret in town. One of our new sponsors here at Lady Rams Hoops Weekly and for all Central Dauphin girls basketball coverage is Fit 39. They're a personal fitness training facility located right on the Bumblebee Hollow complex at the old Subway sub shop. And my partner Bill Bostic has been going there and he enjoys the heck out of it. So check him out at Fit 39, Linglestown Road. We're going to be bringing in our point guard, Sam Gress, here momentarily. She was chosen by Coach G for us to spotlight this week, and a little Q&A session with Sam. Then we'll do a round of Keeping It Light, and if you're unfamiliar with Keeping It Light, stay tuned and you'll see what that's all about. But first, we have lots to talk about. We have not had a Lady Rams Hoops Weekly official show in 2 weeks because of the holiday. I did a sort of an abbreviated version from the Diamond State Classic down in Wilmington, Delaware, but Bill wasn't with me, the production wasn't the same, and I sort of flew by the seat of my pants. So we're back to the normal grind here. Happy New Year, everyone. We're 9 games into the 23-game regular season at this point. The Rams are 5-4 overall. Wins against Parkland, Harrisburg, Carlisle, Chambersburg, and the game in Wilmington, which would have been Ursuline Academy. Losses to Cumberland Valley, East High, Mater Dei, and Sanford School. The last 2 being also games they played down there in Wilmington. And the 3 games they played in Wilmington were all against top-notch national teams. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But they went 1-2 down there, and it probably felt like a pretty good 1-2 when all was said and done. So they're 3-2 in the Commonwealth at this point. After last night, we are tied for second. We went into last night tied for 4th, and there was a little bit of a shakeup last night because some of the teams that had been 3-1 or 2-2 had to play one another. And so things have changed there just a little bit. We have Sam coming up here. You're going to be with us, Sam? I'll be ready in just a minute or two here. Unless you want to just stand by me. Might be a little uncomfortable. Okay. So anyway, last night we played Chambersburg right here in Central Dauphin. It was a 61-36 win, and that got us over the 500 hump in the Commonwealth. Offensively, we had 2 very nice contributions from Sam Gress, who, again, will be coming on the show here momentarily, and Grace Long. Grace has been averaging 16 points a game in her last 2 Commonwealth games. She had 14 against East, which was a career high, and then 18 last night. So 18 and 14, that's an average of 16. That's a lot of scoring for Grace. And I said last week that it started to look like Grace might be here to stay offensively, and she certainly showed that last night. So Nadia doing what you'd hope Nadia would do. She's playing real well under the boards, getting lots of rebounds. She's got some really nice assists, too, over the last couple of weeks. So she's working herself into the offense, not scoring a lot of points, although she had 8 last night. And we'll take 8 points out of Nadia because she's banging the boards. She's altering shots. She's making the bigs alter their shots, missing a lot of easy shots underneath the basket. So Nadia's contributing very well at this point. And she's playing very efficiently. She's not turning the ball over, and I see a lot of improvement over last year in Nadia's game. Faith usually covers the opponent's best player. I mean, if the best player is a guard on the opposition, face covering her, and she's been shutting down the guards all year long. So there's Nadia. We just said some nice things about you, Nadia. Certainly. And there's no one she can't cover, really. I mean, she covered a young lady down in Wilmington, Ursuline Academy, and it was a girl that had 17 points in the state final game last year as a junior, and Faith shut her down to 5 points down there. So whoever she's assigned to usually doesn't score, and that's a big help for this team on the defensive end. Carol and Jamie, there's Carol. As I talk about you guys, you walk by. They're playing real steady down low, both of them. And they've been picking up the scoring slack when needed. I mean, if one of the scorers has an off night, Carol Weber has 8 or 10 or 11, or Jamie has 7 or 9 or 10. So they're not really needed so much for their scoring, but when that situation arises, both of them have been stepping up, but they're getting lots of rebounds. Carol's just playing real well in the paint, and that's always good to see. The last 5 games, Coach G has been using a lot of his personnel. He's been going deep into the bench, and that's always a good sign when you get in around this part of the season. We're into the second third of the season, and he's got about 9 players now that he can probably really trust to throw into just about any game. He did a lot of substituting down in Wilmington. The girls got to play against some top-notch talent, and so they came back home ready to play. And the Gabby Starsnick is one example. She's been getting in the mix here for the last couple weeks, playing real well, and she looks comfortable out there. Maddie LaFrance has been getting into a lot of games. She had 8 last night. She had 7 in the one game, or 8 in the one game down in Wilmington against Mater Dei. She actually had a third of the team's points. We only scored 24 that game, and Maddie had 8. So she's starting to look comfortable out there as well. So anyway, the important thing about this CD team that I'm starting to notice that I didn't see in the past couple years is they're learning how to play keep away with the ball at the time where they need to kill the clock, share the ball, not turn it over, wait until they get fouled and go to the line. There were times in the past couple years that they might be able to kill 20 seconds or 30, 35 seconds, but then they'd throw a bad pass and maybe turn the ball over or let somebody come in and steal it. I'm not seeing that this year. They did a great job against Ursuline, again, down in Delaware. When they had to kill the clock, they did. They worked for good, clean shots, and so that's a big deal come the end of the year when you get into some tight games and you have some tight leads, and that's great to see. So anyway, let's run down the Commonwealth Division before we bring Sam in here. She probably had a long day, and I'm sure Coach G worked him hard in there today. After last night, Harrisburg's 4-1. They beat Mifflin County. East High's 4-1 after beating Carlisle. Harrisburg has East on Friday, so that means East has Harrisburg on Friday. So another something's got to give game there. One of them's going to go to 5-1, another one's going to go to 4-2. The Rams again beat Chambersburg. We moved to 3-2 in the Commonwealth. We have Mifflin County on Friday at Mifflin County. That's a big game. So again, things are going to have to shuffle around. We can make some headway against all the teams below us with a win on Friday. Mifflin County again lost to Harrisburg last night and has Central Dauphin up in Mifflin on Friday. State College beat Cumberland Valley last night. They moved to 3-2. With the loss, Cumberland Valley moves to 2-3, and both of those teams have somewhat light games on Friday. State College has Carlisle. Cumberland Valley has Chambersburg. Carlisle moved to 1-4 last night after a loss to East. They have State College on Friday. And Chambersburg, after their loss to Central Dauphin, is 0-5, and they have Cumberland Valley. So once again, just to check in, this is Joe Gilloway, your weekly Lady Rams Hoops Weekly show with your sponsors, Econ Wealth Management, Fabio's Restaurant and Brick Oven Pizza, Linglestown Firehouse Bar, and Fit 39. Now we're going to bring in Sam Gress. Sam is number 14 in your program. Which side, Bill? Over here, Sam. She's number 14 in your program. She's the point guard and the 2 guard at times. Very solid season so far, Sam. Looks like your teammates are starting to work the ball around and find you some good open shots. Are you starting to feel that way?
Yeah, definitely. Especially last night, we were open a lot. So I think they're now setting good screens and just looking for me.
The important thing when you were, and we talked about this earlier in the year, I think when we interviewed like 6 of you, that you're a shooter. We know you're a shooter. You do. Coach G does. But you're also the point guard. So you have to bring the ball up, and the offense has to be a little bit patient in order to work the ball back to you. And you're not their only option. But, I mean, certainly they want you to try to get the good looks. Are you keeping your energy level up having to do that?
Yeah, definitely Coach Bob's conditioning gets me ready for that. So having to do everything is kind of fun.
It's fun, huh? Tell us a little bit about your you had 5 3-pointers last night, by the way. I'm sure you know that, right? I know about your shooting regiment, but tell the viewers a little bit about what you do to practice shooting, what your regimen is as far, not what you do in this gym here, but outside of here, maybe at the other gym you go to with your dad.
Usually I try to go almost every night, usually 3 times a day, especially before game day. We go over to advanced hoops, and me and my dad we shoot 100 free throws. It's kind of just like our thing. And then we just shoot a bunch of 3-pointers and just work on my game.
Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, it's fun.
I did too. When I played basketball, and I was nowhere near your level, but I could have shot shots all night long. I mean, really, it never got old. The teammates, again, are making things a little bit easier for you. Let's talk a little bit about the Harrisburg game. That might not have been one of your easier games. Do you know how many points you scored against Harrisburg?
Like 4.
She scored 4 points, and I've been watching Sam for over 2 years now. I think that might have been the best game I ever saw you play at a high school level. Did you walk away from that game, even with only 4 points, thinking, man, I played one heck of a game tonight?
Yeah, I definitely think, especially when they have me pretty locked down, I try to include my teammates as much as possible, and I thought I did that to the best of my ability. So.
Yeah, you certainly did. And I talked to Coach G the next day, and one of the first things he said to me, he said, man, what a game Sam had. And I had already felt that way because they weren't giving you couldn't even exhale out there.
Yeah.
I mean, from one basket to the other, they were in your face. And I saw you had some opportunities to force some shots up, and you didn't. I'm sure you saw that you had, sort of looks, but they weren't good looks. Mm-hmm. And then you kicked the ball out, and you had a lot of assists. So you might have grown up from that game, huh? Do you realize now that you can have a great game with only scoring 4 points?
Yeah. I think in the end it's just about, the team and just trying to involve everyone, because literally anyone on this team could have a great night. That's, I think, what's so special about us is anybody can do scoring. Right,
and that's something new. The last couple of years, you had scorers and then role players. But as I was saying when a couple of your teammates walked by, Jamie and Carol, they may not be quote-unquote scorers, but they've both had, double-digit scoring games. Carol had, I think, 11 or 12 one game, and 10 another game, and 9 another game. But then the game she has 4 or 5, she gets rebounds, and she plays good, strong defense. So you guys are able to take turns and not necessarily take a night off offensively, but be able to contribute in other ways on certain nights, right?
Yeah, definitely. I see that.
Okay. You set the bar pretty high for yourself, right? Do you ever go home at night and say, man, I had a really good game. I'm very satisfied with the way I played?
I don't think you can do that, to be honest, because, I mean, no matter how good you think you do, there's always something you can do better. And that's just how I kind of take things on. There's always something you can work on to get better.
That's a great answer. I didn't know what I was going to get from you there. I just took a risk on asking you that. Because I know that you're tough on yourself, and there's probably going to be a really good end result from all that. But I just want you to know that even in the games you probably don't think you played that well, you're contributing in other ways. I watched just about all of them. You missed the CV game. You were spending time with family. I know it was an important event for your family. And then you weren't feeling too well for the East game, In between, we played Harrisburg and won. I mean, it's starting to look a little bit like the team may need you, and that's, like we just talked about, the whole team's contributing. It's not a case where you need to carry anybody on your shoulders, but we're starting to feel the importance of Sam Gress being in the lineup, whether you score 4 or 14. How you feeling right now, going into the next 2/3 of the season?
I'm feeling really good. I think after that trip in Delaware, we definitely learned a lot as a team, and I think we came together too, you know, going against those teams that were good, and I just think coming together at the end of the day and just realizing that we just need to stay together as a team.
Right. There's a couple ways of looking at games like that, and you can say, oh my gosh, we lost by so many points and that team was so much better, or whatever. And then you could say, peel a layer off and say, how about all the experience these players got? You know, these two have never played with these three before, and you know, Coach G got a chance to look at some different fives together, and I mean, I drove home from that tournament thinking, wow, what an experience it was, and what an opportunity it was for all of you as teammates and for Coach G to get some really good looks coming back up to Harrisburg. So I thought it was a successful 4 days.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a learning experience.
And I thought you played wonderfully too, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go to keeping it light. Do you know what that is?
No.
I'm going to ask you a few questions. They're going to be light questions, hopefully. Some of them won't have anything to do with sports. For you, maybe some of them will, though, because I know that's your thing. What's your favorite moment in a game or favorite game that you've been involved in personally? Any sport, any age, any level?
The first game that comes to my mind is the Cedar Crest game last year, just because that was the kind of game where we all came together and we just said, we're not going to lose this. And we all, we were down most of the game, and we came back and we won, and that was just a really good feeling.
Right, yeah, you came from up. You had a nice lead in the first half, and they went on a run, you know, and I think you were down 4 at halftime, but they took the momentum into the locker room, and you guys came back out and said, we're not having this. And, yeah, it was a great second half you guys had. And it was sort of a monkey off your back kind of game. You still had to go up against Cumberland Valley, but you knew you could win under on the big stage at Giants Center. And I guess you sort of had a different feeling going into Cumberland Valley after that game, right? Yeah,
there was definitely a lot of, energy towards our team, and we just knew that we got this.
Good. Favorite movie? All-time movie? Out now, out 10 years ago?
Oh, God. My favorite sports movie is Hoosiers. It's got to be Hoosiers. That's a great movie.
I knew we'd keep tying sports into this. That's a great movie. Good answer. Favorite TV show?
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. Okay, one more. Have you ever beaten either of your brothers in a game of one-on-one?
Not yet. Not yet. I will, though.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, I will.
Do you think they could hit a softball off you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Touche, right?
It's not a chance.
Okay, well, keep playing them one-on-one. I'm sure by the time you go off to Ohio University, you will have beaten one of them, right? If not both of them. And, again, we didn't get into it too much because it's basketball season. But, Sam, what process are you at with the Ohio University? Did you sign? Or?
I'm verbally committed. I'll be signing in next year, like October and November at the early signing. So
Sam's pretty much an all-state pitcher. I mean, I don't know where she was a sophomore last year, right? And you have two seasons left. So she's going to continue her academic career at Ohio University on a full ride for softball. And I think you're a D1 basketball player too, but I know softball is your love. And for now, we'll just take your contributions out here and helping the Lady Rams. So, Sam, thank you very much for taking the time. And hopefully we'll see you Friday at Mifflin, okay? Great season so far.
Thank you.
Folks, once again, Sam Gress just coming out of practice. I know she wants to get home and eat. And so hopefully we'll be seeing more Sam. We still have a lot of season left, and I can see her probably earning her way back on the show. So once again, this is Joe Gilloway with Linglestown Gazette Sports Lady Rams Hoops Weekly. Thank you.